Oh dear. Brexit. Do you know that Brexit has brought zero benefits to UK businesses? Now this says Brewdog. Yeah, the boss of Brewdog. They're a brewery. They brew beer. Yeah. They export it as well into the EU. So you can imagine the difficulties they've been having. But he says that leaving the EU has massively handicapped UK companies that do business in Europe. This is what James Watts said of Brewdog. Well, the CEO of the brewery and the pub chain, Brewdog, well, has poured a pint of the sourest beer possible all over Brexit. Yeah, he said it's shit, pretty much. Tastes like shit as well, apparently. Well, James Watts said that Britain's departure from the European Union has brought about a significant negative impact on his own company's operations and massively handicapped other companies, UK companies. I thought there was going to be all this sunlit uplands, you know. Jacob Rees-Mogg, he told us all. The day we leave the European Union, we will all have cheaper food and shoes, apparently. Well, that ain't the case, is it? Everything is drastically more expensive because there's no red tape. And red tape costs money. It's obvious, really. Yeah, some people believed them. Oh dear. Can't help some people either, can you, when you tell them, because they just give you a load of, oh, don't put Britain down. No, that's what they say. Or should I say England? So Scotland voted to stay in the EU. At least there is some common sense. But still, a whole load of numpties put that cross in the wrong box and scuppered businesses just like Brewdog. Well, Mr. Watt said that it massively handicapped UK companies that do business in Europe with zero benefit at all. Now what went on? The attack he did after identifying Brexit as one of the reasons behind Brewdog's latest financial figures. Unfortunately for them, their operating costs, well, they've lost £24 million. Obviously, they're not very happy. Their shareholders are not going to be very happy, and the value of the company, it plummets as a result. And this is all due to Brexit. Now, he said, well, his company's operations in the European Union countries had been hampered by red tape. Red tape incurred because of Brexit. Because of the decision to leave the European Union and, you could say the subsequent implementation of it as well, you know, the oven-ready deal. Well, quite frankly, it made no difference. There is no good Brexit. Never was. No. Well, he says subsequent implementation of that decision has also been a disaster. Anyway, please boot the old like button. And, well, if you want to support the channel, do it on Patreon or buy us a coffee, but there's memberships as well, you know. Yeah, the link's down below. Now, he said, we sell so much beer in mainland Europe. We own and operate our own buyers in France, Germany, Italy and Holland. They didn't need to do that until Brexit, you see. Because, well, for him to export into the European Union, he now has to have a thing called URI number. Now, I know of another geezer called Daniel, who's also a wine import-exporter. Yeah. He's also had to do the same thing. He's actually moved to France, actually, to make life easier. He's kept his business in the UK, but he holds stock now in the EU and the UK. And because language barriers and complications, because technical jargon and what have you, and obviously having to pay fees to people, well, they decided it was cheaper for him to move and still operate in the UK. Because you have to have, well, you've got to have your representative, you see, another business in the EU that you fill out they got to fill their paperwork out, and you've got to fill your paperwork out. And the bigger the consignments, the less trouble it'll become, because the consignment, well, the paperwork will be pretty much the same for every consignment, every lorry load. If you have a single pallet, well, then it's going to be more expensive than a whole lorry, isn't it? So it makes a lot more sense. Well, Mr. Watt's saying that he has to set up to do this in France, Germany, Italy and Holland. All added expense. That's just, getting their beer to those buyers is now significantly more expensive and significantly more, difficult, hassle, aggro. Now he says it's, massively handicapped his business and, UK businesses as a whole, right across the UK. And any businesses that want to do business in the EU, it's 447 million people, who drink beer, include the babies, you put in the bottles and that. Give them Guinness, high in iron, good for the blood cells. Yeah, no, don't do that, no. Anyway, there's zero benefit, he says, none whatsoever. Just a load of costs, load of bureaucracy and a huge amount of stress. Now, there have been people already who unfortunately have had enough. And they haven't just given up on, business itself. As a direct consequence of Brexit, there's been reports recently of, people giving up on their life. Suicide. Businesses failing. But you don't hear that in the mainstream news, do you? No one will tell you that, do they? The consequences of Brexit. It's not just the finances, it's what companies and people, individuals who put their neck on the block, financially secured their homes on the businesses and stuff like that, they get put into very difficult places. Farmers, for instance, they're the same. They've been put in a very difficult place. All they see is the debt and very little profit, if any at all. In fact, it just increases their debt. Well, Brewdog CEO, Mr. Watt, he thinks it's been absolutely tragic for UK business. And a lot of economic issues the UK is facing is more, the inflation as well. Because it's difficult for us to trade. It's difficult for us to get money into the country. Foreign investment. Well, it's basically harder to do business as a result of this catastrophic decision to leave the European Union. And that's his words. It's really crippled his business and business as a whole in the UK. Now, Mr. Watt, he also claimed that the government's sheer incompetence. Well, you've got to look on the front bench, haven't you, of this Tory government. Flipping there, where'd they find that bunch? Flipping Lee Anderson? Come on. Really? Is that the best we can do? Blimey. Don't say a lot for us, does it? Really doesn't. Well, they all helped to create the conditions in which the cost of producing a case of beer is almost 40% more expensive than it was before Brexit. I know what some people say, it's due to the cost of this and the cost of that. Everything has become more expensive, hops, etc., etc. As a direct consequence of Brexit. Import-export costs have gone up. Well, that's what he's saying. Now, that's at a time when consumers have already got less disposable income. So luxuries, such as beer and stuff like that, some people can cut them back, you see. There's less drunk people out there, although you'd wonder if you look at the front bench. There again, saying that. Their beers and their meals, and cause they're all fat and drunk, aren't they, on the front bench? They're quite frankly, they're getting all free food, which is paid by the taxpayer. That's you, obviously. You're fattening them up. Maybe you're fattening them up for the slaughter, put them on the spit and have a slice. Maybe. But, what you've got to do is put the fattiest one at the top, you see, and that'll baste the one at the bottom. That's what you do. It's like we do, with pork crackling and itchy pigs. Yeah. So put Teresa Kofi at the top. Be perfect. Crispy. Anyway, dreamy thought. Anyway, which has, everything's been made a lot more challenging. Now, Mr. Watt's view is, diametrically opposed to that of, Gideon. Pop the Bing Tim Martin, CEO of the Wetherspoons chain. He told Andrew Marr the other week, didn't he, if you saw it, on LBC. He says he's had no regrets about backing Brexit and printing all his little bear mats and magazines, in his pubs. That was prior to the 2016 referendum. But let's be honest. Honest Tim Martin cares not about you. He just cares about his own sociopathic obsessions. You can't be wrong, you see. No. You can't admit, like most of them, they've made a mistake. No. They won't do that, will they? Not like you and I, we make a mistake, we'll say. Now, as you can see, Brexit is the downfall of Britain, well, as Little Britain's been proved to be now, isn't it? Or should I say, Little England, since Scotland voted to stay in the European Union? You tell me. Leave it in the comments down below. And like I say, if you want to support the channel, you can do it on Patreon or buy us a coffee. And links for that is also down below. But also we have, well, we've got memberships as well. If you're wondering where we are at Chateau de Rochefoucauld here in the Charente. Yeah, rather nice. Yeah, built in the 11th century. And then the entrance turrets were built in 1350. And then there's a major remodel back in 1700. Also, all sorts of stuff going on with this place. It does have a bit of history, you know. Well, I suppose it would over the amount of years it's been standing there. But ain't it lovely? You know? Can't be bad. I might move in, you know. Do you think they'll let me? No, probably not. In fact, I don't think I'm even supposed to be laying here and talking to my camera. Oh well. Ta-ta.